A search process for a new rector can be difficult in the best of times. Concerns about finding just the right person for the season, determining growth edges for the congregation, and taking honest stock of the community and their spiritual needs. These aren't easy to address, and especially in a pandemic. Still, St. John's Episcopal Church in Essex, Connecticut, and their new rector from the other side of the country boldly stepped into the process, following wherever the Holy Spirit led them.
While we could observe our worship services, we were having trouble participating in them. It's time to come home to our church.
I've just moved with my family from Seattle, Washington to Connecticut, so a 3,000-mile move in the winter during a pandemic with a family of 4, my mother, and a pet lizard. Even before the pandemic, my husband and I, we both grew up in smaller towns in the middle of the country, and so we had that kind of childhood. We remember hopping on bikes with our friends, going off to play in the woods. We had been looking at our children growing up in a dense urban area, houses right next to each other, and that while there were things that as young newlyweds in our 20s we really loved about the big city, as our kids got older, we had begun questioning, is this what we want for our family? I think at a time when a lot of people were hunkering down and staying put, it actually encouraged us to do more of the opposite, to be prayerfully open to possibility of what might be a better place for our family. And so when I heard about this job opening here at St. John's in Connecticut, we were ready to see if this was the place.
It was very difficult here because it was the beginning of Lent, which of course the church is a very serious time. It was also the beginning of our search for a new rector.
In some ways, the shutdown helped because we didn't have as many activities that were interfering with our ability to meet very frequently. We did meetings by Zoom. But even interviewing Kate, there was something special. You could feel how all the pieces were falling into place and get a sense that she was just the right one for us here at St. John's.
So what we're doing today is we're leading up to Holy Week and Easter, and so we've again prepared bags because that seems to work well, and we have lots of information about Holy Week and Easter and how we're doing hybrid of in-person and live streamed and every way we can think of to get people engaged in Holy Week. And we've prepared bags that have olive wood crosses, Easter eggs, a little Easter candy that's fun, just different objects, holy objects for people to engage with those liturgies, thinking of every way we can to reach out to people, to help connect people, to get to know people, and make them feel like they're part of what's happening here.
We actually, last week, had our first in-person worship service. Obviously, we're doing our social distancing and masking, but the speed with which the vaccines are coming forward and the people getting vaccinated is frankly dramatic.
People are feeling, I think, a little bit safer about gathering. And we're limited in numbers and limited in what we can do. We're all wearing masks, we can't sing. But I think there were a lot of smiling eyes.
My favorite story from our first in-person worship is that I walked out to do announcements about how we're doing this safely. And I said good morning, and I kept talking. And as I said good morning, the congregation said good morning back, and then we all laughed. Because for a year, I've been alone in a church, doing worship to a camera. And I've forgotten that there are people who are talking back to me. And so there was this joyful laughter, and then the room erupted in applause.
The irony is this hit during Lent, and we're coming out of it hopefully at the end of Lent. So I think it's a positive sign.
It is going to be so joyful. I don't think words can even express what will it feel like when we're all back in church, worshiping on a Sunday, without fear, without concern, without physical distancing.
I look forward to going back to in-person worship and communion and working with the kids again, even if it has to be masked. But at least we're there, and we're worshiping in person and together with our neighbors and friends.
I'm meeting people. I have a fantastic staff, amazing vestry, people I get to work with. My husband is finding a job and going to join us soon. My kids are in school and in sports and thriving. I can't wait to settle in this community and see what the next chapter holds.